Hey there, it's me, KatieBeth again, and
Jason.
and we didn't quite make it all the way home from our Yellowstone trip. We made it as far to Vegas, and now we're exhausted and stopping in Vegas. But it does give us a chance to check out what Vegas is like now. So now we're going to show you what Vegas is like during a pandemic. So we arrived on the Vegas Strip a little after 7, probably about 7:30 at night here. And now we are pulling into the Luxor parking garage. As you can see, there's a lot more cars than I thought would be here during a pandemic. But we're here too, so I can't really say too much about that. But it was still a little troublesome trying to find parking. But again, this was a Saturday night in Las Vegas. But still, during a pandemic, this many people here? So we did stay at Excalibur, which is known for being one of, or the cheapest hotel on the Strip, pretty much. It's a castle theme. It's actually pretty cute. And this is us walking in for the night to check in. There's a sports center, and it's still pretty crowded for a pandemic again. But again, there's social distancing enough. And here's a quick glance at the rest of the casino. You can see they're all pretty much wearing masks. Since it is a requirement for you to wear a mask in the casino, they did have a mask dispenser at the beginning of the checkout line, so that was pretty nice. They did have the spots on the floor for you to self-govern 6 feet apart, but it was pretty self-governed. No one was there really enforcing that. We did at the beginning, though, of the check-in line have people taking temperatures. So they took each person's temperature as you got into the line, but if anyone was waiting outside of the line with your stuff, they weren't checking them. And just in case you were wondering what exact temperature they're looking for, they had a sign posted that they were trying to keep people out that were over 100.4 degrees. This was also kind of cool during this pandemic. To avoid physical contact, you just put your ID inside that little blue light, and it checked all your information so you didn't have to actually touch anyone else. Another layer of added germ security that I've noticed the hotels have started doing pretty much everywhere, but especially here in Vegas, is they seal your door to let you know that it has been cleaned, and that's pretty cool. Another perk that the MGM resorts have started doing is giving you little goodie bags. They're in your room waiting for you when you first get there, and it has hand sanitizer, masks, and some keys so you don't have to touch things. They're kind of like stylus keys. And here I am using it on our elevator. Which brings me to another topic at hotels right now is elevators. To get anywhere to your rooms in the hotels right now, you have to use the elevators, and they're only about 5 feet wide. So it's very self-policing on how much people actually want to social distance. Checking in, it wasn't too bad because we were there kind of later, but when we checked out, it was absolutely horrible trying to find an elevator that just wasn't packed full of people. And that's a little troublesome during this social distancing period. And here's another view of what the inside of the casino looked like at the machines. Not too bad. Most people are wearing masks unless they're drinking or smoking. Here we're on our way to go get some food. And as you can see, the crowds aren't horrible. They're just a little more than we're actually used to during this time period. And we were exhausted, so we just made a quick left into Johnny Rockets there to get some grub. Now here's the surprising part. Not because it's Johnny Rockets, just because it's 2 sandwiches. Our meal ended up being almost $45, and we got 2 chicken sandwiches and 2 bottles of water. And this is what our chicken sandwich ended up looking like. That's a $15 sandwich here in Vegas. They did have tables open, and you are allowed to eat inside at restaurants right now in Las Vegas. However, we just took our meal to the room. There's a lot of busy, loud families out there, so we did eat in our room that night. And if you're wondering what the view looks like from the cheapest room, it's really not bad. I was actually quite pleased with that view. You have the nice towers there. However, you can tell the windows have not been clean. You can see those wet grease marks from people's foreheads leaning out on the window, which tells me the cleaning crew may not clean at least the windows that often. The next morning, we did have a pretty good gym experience. It opened at 7 a.m. We were the first ones in there. They have free bottles of water and workout towels. And they also have little cleaning stations for you to get wipes to wipe machines down before and after you use them. It's self-policed. And from the gym room, you can see the pools, so you can look out on people if you want to later in the day, but the pool didn't actually open until 2 hours later, so we didn't have to worry about checking out other people's bodies. One small thing to be aware of is the internet sucks there. It didn't work on my phone, and it didn't really work that well when I connected to Wi-Fi, and our cable kept going out. So that was a bit of an issue at this Excalibur hotel. Also, we ended up doubling face masks while we were at this hotel. A lot of people here were very loud and didn't seem to care that much about masks and yelling and screaming, and so it just made us more conscious of trying to keep ourselves safe. And here's some more photo evidence of how the casino was. Some tables did have plastic in between players, and some only had it around like the roulette thing, but it's not around the actual guests sitting there. So that is something to think about because it's not just one family at the table, there'll be multiple families. For our second night staying in Las Vegas, we did use the MyVegas app to get a free night stay at the Bellagio Hotel, which worked out really great. We had a great time at this hotel. And here's a quick image giving you a quick idea of what the parking situation was like at the Bellagio Hotel. It was pretty much the same scenario as it was at Excalibur. Still really busy, surprisingly busy for this pandemic we're in. I keep saying that, but it just still keeps blowing my mind. And this is a picture of the crowd once we actually got into the hotel. I would like to mention the crowd is completely different during the pandemic than it would be on a normal August. Normal August, you see a lot of naked 20, 21-year-olds, but this trip I noticed it was mostly families and couples generally 35 and up. And now we're getting into my favorite part of the trip, which was everything about Bellagio. I know this is a weird picture to start with, but this was the guy that we first had contact with. He took our temperatures, and mine came out great. I wasn't fevery. And the lines were better policed here for social distancing, mainly because they only let one person stand in the line, so I did have to wait by myself for a while. And shout out to this lady right here. She was really great. Anytime a guest left a counter, she was right there re-sanitizing everything so it was safe and good to go for the next guest. And right outside the elevators, they did have a dispenser for masks and hand sanitizer. And in our room, we did get another one of those goodie bags with all the goodies in them. They had the masks and the hand sanitizer, but our kit was missing the key stylus, which their paper says it should have in there. But it was free, so I didn't complain. I guess I'm just doing my complaining here. And this was the view from our room. Absolutely beautiful. I just wanted to stand there all day, which I kind of did. Here's a picture of it at sunset. And another one with the fountains. And the fountain shows go off pretty often. And you can kind of hear them from your room, but they play the music on your TV, so you can get a better interaction with that. But beautiful. And then the next morning, we hit the gym, of course. We weren't the first ones there, so there were already a few people in there, probably between like 6 and 10. It was a pretty well-stocked gym. It had everything there. It even had a little stretching room. And finishing up our stay here at Bellagio, I wanted to show the poker tables, because I don't think I really showed those yet, that the players did have the plastic in between them. So there was that little bit of safety. And as we were leaving, they had this hand washing station, which is really nice if you're in there touching machines all day. You have the option to wash your hands and not just use sanitizer. So pretty cool. Now, as far as the rest of Vegas goes, outside of the hotels, there's still those awesome landmarks to see, all the cute little touristy attractions they have. But there was still a lot of traffic. I was expecting less traffic than there was. Also, clubs are all closed right now, as well as bars, but restaurants are still open and you can still eat inside of restaurants. Also, there's a lot of weed shops open and a lot of people waiting in lines outside of there. Now, as far as masks go, outside of hotels, masks weren't really being enforced on wearing or properly wearing. But most places indoors where you would normally have a lot of contact with people, masks were pretty well enforced. This is the gardens inside of Bellagio. And because restaurants were still open, we were able to have a pretty good dining experience. Here we are at Hell's Kitchen. And here we also had one of the most expensive salads we've ever had in our lives, but one of the most delicious. For both of these salads and our mac and cheese, our meal was about $85, but that was including tax and a 20% tip. And that concludes our trip to Las Vegas during this 2020 pandemic. I hope we were able to show you some of the things about Vegas that you may have been wondering about during this time, and I hope you had a great time watching. If you have any other questions that we didn't answer in this video, please feel free to ask them in the comments below, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. Again, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.